Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to all of you who are able to travel to Masaka to send off our comrade in the struggle, our soldier in the struggle, Muhammed Ssegirinya, aka Mr. Update. It's unfortunate that we lose him at such a tender age of 37, and he leaves behind 8 children in this cruel world. No parent deserves to die at such an age and leave his children to this cruel world. So basically a number of things have come into play. Everyone is trying to play blame games. There are people who are saying Noop has been selfish with the way they handled the burial. They should have let the burial be held at the Butale playgrounds, which was more spacious, in the ceremony that was organized by the state and by the parliament of Uganda. But you know, the whole thing is so funny. I've seen so many sides to it. I have seen Ssegirinya's mother and children blaming Noop and saying they kept the body and they are not letting the body be taken to Butale playgrounds where more people would have paid respect to the body and stuff like that. But overall, I think these people, whether it is family or anybody, nobody has a right to respect the will of the dead. Ssegirinya had a will, and while he was alive, he had stated the exact ways he would love to be sent off, the exact ways he would love to be buried. Ssegirinya categorically stated that if he died, we should not type rest in peace. We should say fight harder. And indeed, Ssegirinya, wherever you are, Mr. Updates, fight harder. Do not rest. Fight harder. Why did he say this? Because he felt he had been killed. He had been murdered by the system. Ssegirinya was taken to prison. He began to deteriorate health-wise. Ssegirinya severally requested for opportunity, requested for bail so that he could get adequate medical care. But they deliberately kept him in prison. And yet his health situation kept deteriorating. All the systems, all the organs of government, from the judiciary failed him because the judges in the judiciary are operating like robots. They are given direction, and the direction they are given is what they have to follow. The executive failed him, and even the parliament failed him, only to see that in his death, the parliament is quick to raise 150 million shillings. That was raised by fellow members to, support his family. But I mean, where were they when the guy was rotting away in prison, when his health was deteriorating? None of them came out to speak. Well, the parliament should have come out to speak as a unit and request for the release of one of their own who was a responsible citizen of this country, so that he could get decent treatment that would improve his health situation. So the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature all failed Ssegirinya. Now, Ssegirinya was categorically clear about how he wanted to be buried. He did not want anything to do with the state, because it is not my word. In his own words, he believed the state is responsible for his death. So now, when the state comes up and says they want to organize a state burial for him, when actually he believed that the state was responsible for his death, it becomes a bit erotic or problematic. Now, look at the situation where you see the mother now is saying, is thanking Impuga, and the children are saying Noop kept the body and stuff like that. Of course, whatever Noop did was basically respecting the rights of the deceased, respecting the will of the deceased, because not even family has any right, to disrespect the will of the dead, So the mother doing that, it all goes down to poverty. The children doing that, it all goes down to poverty. Like in that organization that was made at Butale, basically this was where probably the 150 million collected in the parliament should have been handed over, and then maybe some handouts from government, which I one of. So you get a widow like that, and she's desperate. She looks at that money as a lot of money, but the reality is she was disrespecting the will of her own son, much as she is the parent. So I think whatever Noop did was the right thing. It is money that is the motivation, and the money that they have received is going to cause them lots of fights as a family, lots of disagreements as a family, and eventually that money will be squandered and they will have no place to turn to. Because I know, trust me, NUP as a party can never forget the children of Ssegirinya. So there was nothing there. All those who are trying to spin now and say that Noop denied the will of the family to take Ssegirinya to a more spacious ground, to be mocked by the same people whom he believed killed him, does not make sense at all. So according to Ssegirinya's will, it would be like I kill you and then I organize for you a decent funeral. That is not my word, it is his word. It is Ssegirinya who said that he knew the state would be responsible for his death because the state kept him in prison against all pleas without presenting evidence over a long period of time. All pleas for him to come out on bail so that he could seek medical attention fell on deaf ears. So the whole issue here goes back to money. The parliament that organized that state burial was there when he was suffering in prison, crying over and over and requesting to be, given opportunity, given bail to go and seek treatment. But the parliament did nothing. The judiciary had the opportunity to do exactly the right thing, but because they were remote controlled and they were listening to order from above, they could not listen to the plight of Ssegirinya, and his health kept deteriorating. The executive, the same thing. Everybody kept quiet and looked at Ssegirinya deteriorate. Now at his death, then you come and say you want to organize a state burial, parliament is contributing. Why couldn't we save this guy's life before that? So I don't want anybody to be misled that Noop is selfish, Bobi Wine is selfish, they held on to the body. No, Noop was simply respecting the will of the deceased, and it is important to always respect the will of the deceased. May you fight harder, Ssegirinya Muhammed, aka Mr. Habdet. Adios.